Welcome to the listening section of the TOEFL mock test, brought to you by Spinta. This section measures your ability to understand conversations and lectures in English. In this section, you will listen to several conversations and academic lectures. Each conversation and lecture is followed by a number of questions. You will hear each conversation or lecture only one time. You may take notes while you listen. You may use your notes to help you answer the questions. Some of the questions will replay part of the audio for you. Answer the questions based on what is stated or implied by the speakers. You must answer each question before moving on. You cannot return to previous questions in this section.
Good morning. Today I want to talk about the relationship between biodiversity ecosystem services and climate resilience, and why this relationship matters for conservation policy and practical restoration. When I say ecosystem services, I mean the benefits that people obtain from ecosystems such as water purification, pollination, carbon sequestration, and flood regulation. Biodiversity refers to the variety of life at genetic species and ecosystem levels, and it often underpins those services by providing functional traits that respond to change. One key concept is ecological resilience. Resilience is the capacity of an ecosystem to absorb disturbance and to reorganize while retaining essentially the same function and structure. A useful way to think about these relationships is with 3 brief case studies that illustrate different mechanisms and policy implications. First, consider trophic cascades as seen in Yellowstone after wolves were reintroduced. The return of a top predator changed elk behavior and numbers, which allowed riparian vegetation to recover. That vegetation recovery stabilized stream banks, reduced erosion, and improved habitat for birds and fish. So a change at one trophic level had multiple cascading benefits that supported ecosystem services. The second example comes from oyster reef restoration in the Chesapeake Bay. Oysters filter water, and their reefs attenuate waves, which reduces shoreline erosion. Restoring shellfish habitat is a form of nature-based infrastructure that can be less expensive and more adaptive than building seawalls, because reefs can grow and change over time. Third, I want to mention payment for ecosystem services programs. For example, Costa Rica has a long-running scheme that compensates landowners for maintaining forest cover, which preserves biodiversity, sequesters carbon, and sustains hydrological services. These payments create incentives so private landowners make decisions that provide public goods. They are a policy tool that links economic behavior with ecological outcomes. Across these examples, a recurring theme is that protecting or restoring certain species or habitats can produce disproportionate benefits. In other words, keystone species or foundational habitats can amplify ecosystem services. If we protect keystone species, we often get cascading benefits across trophic levels that improve resilience and supply ecosystem services to people. This idea has practical implications. Conservation budgets are limited, so prioritizing actions that maximize resilience and service delivery can improve cost-effectiveness. However, we must be cautious. Not every biodiversity metric correlates directly with a specific service, and single-species approaches can miss broader genetic or habitat diversity that supports long-term adaptation. For instance, coral reef protection that focuses only on one coral species might not maintain overall reef function if other species that confer thermal tolerance are lost. A robust strategy often combines targeted protection of keystone elements with measures that maintain or enhance overall diversity. This can include habitat corridors, assisted migration, or diversifying restoration plantings. Finally, I want to emphasize that integrating social and economic considerations is essential. Local communities often depend on ecosystem services, and their engagement determines long-term success. To summarize, biodiversity supports ecosystem services and resilience. Strategic conservation that prioritizes keystone species and foundational habitats while maintaining diversity can be an efficient way to enhance climate adaptation and mitigation. In our next class, we will examine quantitative methods for assessing ecosystem service trade-offs, including cost-benefit analyses and scenario modeling. For now, think about which local species or habitats you would prioritize and why.
Listen again to part of the lecture. Then, answer the question.
If we protect keystone species, we often get cascading benefits across trophic levels that improve resilience and supply ecosystem services to people.
For more TOEFL mock tests, as well as IELTS and Cambridge practice, visit www.spinta.org. We provide updated tests every single day, AI feedback for your speaking and writing responses, and access to a wide range of high-quality mock tests to help you prepare with confidence.